Genesis 17, when Abraham was 99 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abraham fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be the father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee, and I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seeds after thee in their generations for everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee. I will give unto thee and thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, and all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession. I will be their God. And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. Okay. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger which is not of thy seed, he that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man-child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant. And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be, and I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yeah, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 99 years old bear? And Abraham said unto God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful, and I will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall be beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at the set time in the next year. And he left off taking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the self same day, as God said unto him. And Abraham was 99 years old, and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And in the self same day was Abraham circumcised Ishmael, his son, and all the men of his house born in the house and bought with money of the stranger were circumcised with him. "13 years have passed since the birth of Ishmael. At the end of chapter 16, Abraham is now 99 years old, and his wife Sarai is 89. For over a decade, things have been quiet. Abraham has settled into the assumption that Ishmael is the full fulfillment of God's promise, but then God shatters the silence. Genesis 17 is the moment of final, absolute confirmation. The waiting game is over. God steps into the camp to rename the couple, clarify exactly who will give birth to the true child of promise, and demand a permanent physical signature on the flesh of every male in the camp. Here's the deep historical, cultural, and literary context behind Genesis 17. God opens up the covenant in verse 1 with the brand new title for himself: I am the Almighty God, walk before me, and be thou perfect. In the original Hebrew, the title is used of Shadi, which is historically translated as Almighty, God Almighty, to emphasize supreme, unstoppable power. Ancient Semitic root word suggests a deep meaning related to sustenance, nourishment, and fertility by introducing himself as El Shadi. God is telling a 99-year-old man whose body is biologically dead in terms of reproduction, I am the source of ultimate life and fertility. I can make nature do what is physically impossible. In the ancient Near East, a name wasn't just a label, it was a prophetic declaration of a person's character, essence, and destiny. To change someone's name was a legal act of supreme authority that completely wrote their future. God fundamentally alters the identity of both patriarch and matriarch by dropping a single Hebrew letter, the HE, which represents the breath of God's personal name, Yahweh, right into the middle of their names. Abram, exalted father, to Abraham, father of multitude, and Sarai, my princess, to Sarah, mother of nations. By changing their name before they even had a single child together. I thought they already had. Oh no, because I forgot her name. What was her? Hagar, sorry. So Hagar bared, not Ishmael, but, oh no, Ishmael. Hagar bared Ishmael, and then Sarah bared Isaac. Okay. By changing their names before they even have a single child together, God forces them to live out an awkward, radical act of faith. Every time Abraham's servants call out across the camp, hey, Father, a multitude, lunch is ready. They're vocalizing a divine promise that hasn't happened yet. In verse 9 through 14, God institutes a physical sign of the covenant, circumcision, every male from Abraham down to an 88-year-old infant, eight-day old infant, or foreign servant must carry a permanent mark. To understand why God chose a specific sign, we have to look at the ancient world, not unique, but repurposed. Circumcision was actually practiced by other ancient cultures like the Egyptians, but usually as an elite, high stakes coming of age ritual for young warriors or priests entering adulthood. God completely democratizes it. He demands it for everyone, even helpless infants, making it a sign of family belonging rather than a personal military achievement. The metaphor of fertility, why place the covenant sign there? Thinking about chapter 16, Abraham and Sarah had just tried to use human sexuality and reproductive manipulation via Hagar to force God's promise into reality. By placing the permanent mark of the covenant directly on the organ of generation, God is sending an unforgettable physical message. Human flesh cannot manufacture my promises. Every generation born to this family belongs to me. When God explicitly states, verse 16, that a child will not come from Hagar, but will be born from Sarah, Abraham does something shocking. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old, and shall Sarah that is 99-year-old bear? This is the very first time the theme of laughter enters the story. Abraham's laughter is a mix of pure joy, stunned disbelief, and joy. He even tries to bargain with God, pleading, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. But God refuses to lower the bar. He tells Abraham that Sarah will bear a son and signifies child's exact name, Isaac, which literally means he laughed. Every single time Abraham looks at this miracle son in the future, he will be reminded of the moment he laughed at God's impossibility. The chapter closes with a powerful display of Abraham's character. The very same day God finishes speaking, a 99-year-old Abraham gathers his teenage son Ishmael and every male servant in his massive compound and executes the command of circumcision. Despite the intense vulnerability and physical pain it caused the entire camp, effectively rendering his private militia useless for days in a hostile territory, Abraham chose radical trust over safety. The signature on his flesh, the names are changed, and the cosmic countdown to Isaac's birth has officially begun.